All right, here we go. Okay, hey everyone, this is the Nova podcast. My name is Andrew Luhan. I am the host of the topic. With constantly changing technology, how can film students remain competitive on the job market on a limited personal budget? And here I am with my supporting group members. If you want to introduce yourselves.
Hi, my name is Franchesca.
Hi, my name is EJ.
Yep, so as film students, we're basically just going to talk about all the combining steps of collaboration, networking, technology, and just essentially the ever-changing and ever-growing market of the film industry and how it supports our own journeys as we go along here at Nova and hopefully beyond in our future careers. So starting with topic one, we're talking about how film education and its importance of fostering creative talent. We're basically talking about how unique capabilities, it gives us unique capabilities to gain hands-on experiences, and it basically just fosters basically a community of like-minded individuals. So does anyone want to add anything onto that?
I will say that my experience at Nova, like receiving a film education, has been invaluable. I've learned a lot, not just from my professors, but also from my peers, because they bring a lot to the table with their own experiences. And it's really cool to collaborate with them because I feel like they just bring, as I said, like their own unique perspective, but also like it kind of creates like I don't know how to describe it. Like I guess like a melting pot of like information and resources.
Oh yeah.
And I don't think I would have been able to get that outside of like film school or like Nova or like learning like a academic like venue like that. So that's what I would,
Oh yeah.
in my experience with that.
Oh yeah, for sure. EJ, do you have anything to add to that?
I would say that having an education, especially around film, opens up not only the collaborative aspect of it, as you're working with other individuals and helping and playing off ideas and seeing maybe new aspects or techniques that you didn't see before working by yourself. I'd also say it also helps you really know the multifacets of filmmaking and how it's, on the surface, it's not just, shooting something in front of a camera, but there's a whole style to it. There's, an emotional aspect. There's different, and people interpret it different ways, and knowing all those ways and how to use lighting and really is essential when you're going out into the workplace. And if you can have a university or that has like a film lab, like I know George Mason has a film lab where you're actually on like a film set shooting something and you're actually with a actual director who's been out in the industry, that is extremely helpful and essential, because then you can know how they go about it and then learn from them and really tailor your techniques and stuff towards what you want to do when you start filming things. So yeah, I think having an education in film helps you go above and beyond, and having that extra depth of skill basically in the craft.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and I think something that I think we touched a little bit on, all of us, is really just like the diversity and just the inclusiveness that it really encourages. That's something that you wouldn't really get in a place just going away to New York or California, just stepping onto a film set as an amateur, but really just being able to be around just such a group of, like I said, like-minded individuals and just amateurs of our own craft, and just kind of being able to bounce off ideas without having to be underneath that umbrella of this, I guess, financial net, or this huge, I guess, grouping of executives or directors who have been in the industry for years and years and have so much of experience above you or beyond you. So yeah, that's really interesting. So
also, just to add something onto that, like, especially because we just went through a pandemic,
Mhm.
I think that like the film industry, like just the nature of filmmaking, things are bound to go wrong and you need to adapt really quickly.
Oh yeah.
And I'm kind of almost like glad we had to adapt while learning, because going through the pandemic and trying to collaborate from afar and just seeing how like open and willing people were to like help like figure things out,
Oh yeah.
that was that was just like a really valuable experience. And um there's also that thing where you need to like know the rules to break the rules.
Mhm.
So if you're going to like be like, you know, trying something new to like save a production from falling through, or you're going to be, you know, trying to save on the budget a little bit, it is good to have like that foundation, that knowledge to jump off of from there, you know?
Oh, of course, of course.
Mhm.
And do you think, given if you were to be given a second chance, do you think you would, if you were just thrown into the industry from the get-go, right out of high school or right out of wherever, I guess your amateurity stemmed from, do you think you would have been able to succeed in that environment?
No. Here's why.
Mhm.
I was in a household where I was told it was not an acceptable thing
Mhm.
to be an arts major, so I wasn't. Um, and I was a communications major, and it was only I was like, you know what, let me just try one film class.
Mhm.
And it was the freedom to talk to Professor Lucy, who is a film professor at the Alexandria campus, and discuss with her like what the possibilities were, and you know, if this was like a viable thing. That gave me like the push I needed to actually try this.
Mhm.
And she gave me resources and kind of said, you know what, it's up to you, but I think that, you know, give it a try. And in my experience, like Nova actually gave me the opportunity to give it a try
Oh yeah.
before like fully diving in. And I was really fortunate to have um, that kind of like mentor and that kind of experience. So I don't think I would have fully jumped in to the industry before Nova.
Oh, of course, yeah, and even just going back to that kind of mentorship topic, thinking back to people like Professor Stallings or Professor Brown. Those are the two main teachers that I've had over the past 2 years of being at Nova. I think it really is just quite possibly the being able to have that opportunity to connect and communicate with people who have seen the industry and are leaders of the industry as well. Even in this class, being able to just even message other people or in our other podcast sections, communicate with leaders of the industry. That's really one of the biggest advantages, I guess, that having an academic foundation in filmmaking really has. And I think I'm really fortunate enough, and I think that I've seen a lot of growth in that aspect. So, yeah. EJ, do you have anything?
Yeah, I would say, yeah, if I was personally given the opportunity to go right into on a film set or a production company work, I probably wouldn't do as well as say now because of the education and resources I was afforded at the Nova Film Program and beyond. I would not for everybody. I guess it's specific because some people I guess could do it. Like I guess if you're a child actor or an actor, you could maybe get away with that because it's a little bit different.
Mhm.
But say like you want to be a director or screenwriter or a cinematographer and you go right into there not knowing all the techniques and the different shots or how to work with actors or how to effectively screenwrite and you're trying to do that right out the gate, I don't think you're going to have as much success because you don't know all the facets that go into that. So I would say for me personally, no, I don't think I would have been as effective as say now because of the education and the skills and the knowledge and knowing film as a craft as it is now and all the layers that go to it.
Of course, of course. I think that's very well said. So for topic 2, we're going to move into cultivating our creative pursuits inside and outside the classroom. We're essentially going to be talking about financing our creative vision through on-campus campus opportunities, specialized compensational experiences, things like internship abilities with this class, or even just creating spec work for our portfolio, and really trying to, I guess, advertise ourselves beyond the classroom using, it could either be work within our academic realm, or it could be work from our personal projects that we work on outside of school. We're also going to be talking about utilizing the technological resources that are provided to us within the classroom, such as they can be computer systems, software, camera technology, basically all of that. So is there anything anyone wants to bring to that topic?
Yes. So what I've enjoyed about the curriculum is that every class you're taking, you're spending a good chunk of time doing these projects. And that just goes towards building your portfolio. So you are spending your time and your resources building essentially what you will be presenting once you leave, and you're like, okay, this is what I've learned. This is everything that I've learned, throughout my years at Nova. And I really appreciate the opportunity to be doing that in class, because, as you were talking about, you have access to resources like you can rent out cameras. You can, have access to the Adobe Suite. You can have Premiere Pro. I was an iMovie girly, and that, it was nice to learn on iMovie, but Premiere Pro is like this whole like level up when it comes to like creating. So having that and being able to, use those resources has been like just a great experience. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And even I find just being able to just like be able to use that time in class and even outside of class just to use our project or use our abilities that we cultivate inside of the classroom and use them for spec projects that you can use for maybe getting a job for advertising or showing off in your portfolio. I think that's something that is really, I think, heavily underutilized possibly, and it's something that's not really brought up enough when people kind of criticize, I guess, the film school system. But I'm not sure if any of you had any experience in that, I guess, making spec work or utilizing personal classroom projects for external job opportunities or money-making opportunities.
Yeah, I could add on to the portfolio aspect. I mean, for my portfolio, I personally use class projects, but I would also say, to add on to that, because you're most of your projects in your film courses are going to be group projects, and you're working with other people, you can start your networking there. And if you say you have 1 or 2 individuals in that group that you work particularly well with, then you can, later on say, hey, do you want to make some projects outside of class that can help bolster your portfolio later on for either transfer or job? And then you have, a good baseline of people that you can refer back to, or say, well, I know this person, he's very good at screenwriting, and I know this person, they're very good at, directing. I can, give them your information. So I think that's also a great aspect to film school, is that you can start your networking now, instead of just waiting until the workforce. You can bolster up your repertoire of people that for not only yourself but others that are maybe looking for a certain person that has a certain skill set they need on a set. So I think that also affords you, not only portfolio wise but people wise. And later on, say you get onto a film set industry and you're doing a job and you're like, oh yeah, I know this person back in my film directing class, they were really good. I can hit them up and see if they want to come on and help out. So I think that's what also, it's a great aspect for film school in general.
Oh yeah, of course. And
To add to what you said before that, about using resources at Nova, you know, for like outside job opportunities, I personally have not done that. However, I have had a lot of classmates who have done that. And like EJ was saying, there's that collaborative aspect. So they will go out and they will be able to use Nova resources to, you know, build their resume. And then if, you know, they're on set and someone mentions like, oh, like we could really use another hand, they bring in someone like a film student usually, and or like, hey, would you be interested? I know you're really good at this. And so networking and, you know, using Nova resources has, I've seen, been very successful.
oh yeah,
like outside of the classroom.
oh yeah, and even bringing that full circle is really just amazing. Just kind of how like nowadays I get compared to way back when. Just our abilities just to be able to constantly just like create and really just bounce ideas off of one another, you know, whether it be in like Zoom meetings like this or even on a place like Discord or social media or email, Canvas, so many of them. Really just kind of being able to stay in constant contact with people like that, and even just the ability to find people. I mean, even when we were researching for our own post topics, being able to, you know, go on IGN or go on LinkedIn and just find those industry professionals, cold call them, and really just try to leverage ourselves in a space to really just get in connection with them. And, you know, whether it's for interview purposes or even just finding jobs within that realm, I think it's really interesting how, you know, nowadays social media and this technology has just advanced to a point where it's almost, it's just invaluable to ourselves as film students. And that kind of brings us into topic 3, which is the ability to monetize and share our work on ever-changing platforms of distribution. So free distribution platforms like YouTube and Vimeo and many more just gives us the capacity to share our portfolios and you know, just this emphasis on communal creation and collaboration, and how we're also able to monetize it for the commercial space. Does anyone have anything you would like to add on that?
I think when I was like, I had to do for my my portfolio 1 class, we had to look at demo reels. And we had to, you know, say what was good about it and what was bad. And I went on YouTube and I found a whole bunch. There's so many, and these for, I think, for job opportunities, the person would link their like email. And so yeah, having that ability to post your work and let it be viewed by the world essentially is could be valuable, but also, you know, you're also going to get a lot of, you know, critiques as well. And so you have to, but I think that's also good in aspects that, you know, sometimes if we're working on a project, we think it's the best project in the world. But then if we show it out to the world, then they give us their feedback and we're like, oh, okay. And hopefully if they give us constructive feedback, that'll help us refine us as filmmakers. And we can go back and say, oh yeah, they were right. Maybe I should have done this better or done this a different way. But if they do like our work, then say, you know, a production company or someone falls upon it and they say, hey, I really like this person. I really like how their vision and their the way their style, I think that would really fit our company. And then, you know, if you leave your email, they could hit, you know, contact you and say, hey, we're really interested in you. You know, would you like to stop by for an interview or something? And so I think that's, like you said, invaluable to have that ability to, you know, not just submit it through email or the original way, but having a wider audience to look at. And, you know, maybe even say you're a video editor and there's a content creator on YouTube who needs an editor, and they see your demo reel of editing and they're like, oh wow, they're really good. Let's, you know, they contact you, would you like to come on and do editing for my YouTube channel? And then there's your foot in the door basically. You can work up from there. So having social media, having YouTube and all those video platforms that you can post work on, I think is essential and can be very effective in trying to get your foot in the industry instead of just going, straight to a production company or trying to find work locally and whatnot.
Yeah, and free platforms like Vimeo and YouTube, as EJ was saying, it allows you to create an audience, to create a community. And then if you are able to kind of create that audience, like you were talking, to monetize, in terms of monetizing, it kind of gives you options, right? You can do AdSense, you can do sponsorships, you can do crowdfunding, and it allows you, like, if you're using a free platform like YouTube, you do have to abide by YouTube guidelines, but otherwise you're not really giving up your vision or your integrity to of the film or the project. You are being paid essentially for your work. I don't know, I'm bad at wording this, like it's in my head but I can't and on top of that, I like free platforms because you can make a million mistakes. You can just keep uploading for free. You upload like 10 videos that are garbage. And then there's that one that you upload that's like, like EJ was saying, one that you upload that people see and they're like, oh, that's interesting. Like maybe they'd be interested in helping me edit or, Anyway, sorry, I'm not very eloquent on this topic.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. Yeah, no, I mean that's even something I didn't really come to think about too much when I was talking about just sharing free distribution platforms like YouTube and Vimeo. I'm not sure of the communal aspect of Vimeo in terms of like comment section wise or even just like critiquing wise, but I mean you even see things like YouTube, like there's hordes and hordes of people that are very vocal about their opinions on a certain creators' work, whether it's just vlog style filmmaking or even just like music videos or short films or whatnot. And I think it really is invaluable how the ability just to take those critiques into context and be able to change it on command. And even platforms like Patreon or whatnot, that's when you truly have a community of people who are driven by the fact that they want to I don't know, describe it. They want to give their money to that creator and have them and give them the freedom to basically create within their liking, I guess. So it's almost kind of like that executive filmmaker type relationship, but with a vast community, which I think is truly interesting. And but yeah, is there anything else anyone would like to add to that?
I kind of expounded on everything on that.
Oh yeah, no, it's perfect. So moving into topic 4, we're going to talk about engaging with the collaborative film community and be able to utilize resources to overcome conceptual hurdles. So basically, we kind of already talked about utilizing technological resources such as cameras and laptops and software and whatnot. But really coming full circle, just talking about engaging with like-minded creatives, such as yourselves, such as the network that we've been able to create through the podcast format, through Discord, Canvas, and just overall just being on campus, being within a community of our peers, and really how does that translate to both your abilities to I guess come up with ideas, just create within your own realm.
Having like a group of people to bounce ideas off of
Mhm.
and to work with. And we touched on this earlier, but to have like to be able to add their experiences and their skill set to your project or vice versa,
Mhm.
um, has been just like probably one of the biggest like blocks in the foundation of learning about film for me personally.
Mhm.
Um, I just think that without that experience of working collaboratively with other students at Nova, um, I think that I probably would have been, first of all, I would have been less secure in my own abilities,
Mhm.
just because we're all learning together. We're all learning,
Yeah.
Um, but also it's just like I would have missed out on so many lessons and perspectives on filmmaking that what I would have not gotten otherwise.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting. Even like myself, I'm not sure if both of you guys feel the same, but really it was because I've always kind of had a knack for just filmmaking and just creating in general. Whether it was making art or just animation or even just like listening to music or just everything of that creative realm. I found it was a lot easier to come into my own as an artist, just kind of being in this community and just feeling a little bit more like it was like socially and just like academically accepted, being in this vast group of individuals who had those same ideas and same understanding or artistic understanding, rather than just being when I was in high school, when it was just kind of this like mixed match of just uh, people going their own separate ways. So I'm not sure if uh, you guys felt the same way on that kind of aspect.
Yeah, I have had a similar experience where it's that support and that it's like a feeling of like we're all just throwing ideas at the wall and
Mhm.
unless it's like something dangerous or bad, like we're all like supporting, like, okay, you know what, let's try it. Let's try that out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I did not get that outside of this community at Nova.
Oh yeah. Really, just that validation, I guess. Mhm.
Yeah, I could add, like, even in, like you said, in high school and even in the general education classes, it seemed like everybody was kind of, even though it was a class, everyone was kind of doing it their individual way. And whatever, like say it was math or English, they're not really collaborating. They're just trying to go about getting through the class. But with film classes in general, since it is such a class or a medium, and you have to work with others, I found that it was very insightful to see what other people thought or how to do something. And like I said earlier, someone would, you know, point out an idea, and I'm like, yeah, I never thought of that way. Let's try it. For example, like for film production one, we had to do an assignment. And so we just did we storyboarded everything, and we would just shoot out ideas of what we wanted. And then we would create the storyboard. And then if we didn't like a certain thing after it looked compiling all together, we'd say, okay, let's rethink this shot or how you want to do it. And that was really, like I said, insightful because you might have a thing, oh yeah, this would work, but then once you put it into the whole piece, it doesn't really work, but someone else has that idea that would fit, and so you're like, oh, okay. And so having that ability to shoot out ideas to one another, and like Francesca said, seeing what sticks and what doesn't stick, but then using that just makes you a more effective filmmaker because you have that ability to work with others, but also bounce off ideas and maybe help that idea go a little bit further by adding on an extra bit to the idea to
Oh
make it
yeah.
even more efficient than the original. And so I think that's really invaluable because, like I said, there's not really another um, medium or subject that allows you to do that. But with having the creatives and like whatever, whether it's art or film or music, having, you don't really get that collaborative aspect anywhere else. And so if you try to go about film working by yourself, you're not going to go very far, because it's just only very few people do it, and they're not as effective or mainstream as the people who work with others well.
Mhm.
So getting the ability to work with others effectively quickly is essential, because then you can go farther with not just yourself but the others around you, and they'll all make you and you make them better. And I think that's what's especially in film school, it's very valuable in having that.
Oh yeah, yeah. This amazing part of just filmmaking as a whole. Yeah, just the diversity and just being able to have this like vast amount of ideas, be able to bring something to the table. And I think that is kind of where I was trying to go into the next question with how do you guys believe diversity, um, I guess, of just stories and whether it's films you consumed, people you've engaged with along the years at being at Nova or even beforehand. Um, how do you think that has kind of uh, enabled your storytelling abilities through your own personal projects?
I would say I briefly touched on this before, but it's when you are working with other creatives and when you're learning from watching others work, um, you do find new perspectives in their experiences.
Oh yeah.
So whether that be diversity in, ethnicity or like race or like um socioeconomic class or a bit like disability or anything, I think that you're always learning someone else's perspective. You know what I mean?
Mm. Oh yeah.
And I my like I would love to be a screenwriter. I'm working towards that. That's what I'm working towards. And to be able to get those perspectives is very valuable,
Oh yeah.
for when you're crafting and creating stories.
Of course.
So yeah, that's I I don't really like if you're just looking at your own perspective, you're running out of material very quickly.
Yeah.
If you're
Mhm.
just looking at your own thing. So yeah, I don't think that there was a ton of room to grow if you're just sticking to your perspective. I think that the diversity amongst our peers
Mhm.
is what helps you grow.
Of course. Of
Mhm.
course. I think that is kind of the anthropological aspect that film has. Even just one of the most interesting things, I guess, going into film studies here was those film appreciation classes, the art of film classes, which really just opened my mind to just many different perspectives, different eras of film, and just really being able to utilize that even in my own projects, where I was able to kind of branch out of my own head, out of my own experiences, and really just see um, how other people's voices can influence me. So yeah. And then another part of that question was, how do you believe technology or your own technological limitations, whether it's filming on a phone or filming on a cinema camera, filming on a DSLR, how do you think that influences how you guys, I guess, visualize and conceive those stories?
I think when I filmed a couple projects using a phone, and you do have to go about it a different way than, say, if you're using a DSLR or a full-on film camera. But I think if you have the vision and you know what you want to do, then you should rely less on the camera itself and more how you're going to execute it. So if you just limit yourself and say, "Oh, I only have a phone, I can't, do this certain shot." Well, think of another way of doing the shot, or think of a different way of shooting it that will convey the same meaning of the original shot you thought. But same with a DSLR. I mean, just because you don't have all the wide, mainstream or the big old film cameras and all the lighting and stuff. I think the part of film, the creative part, is thinking around that and going over those obstacles and think of new ways to do it. And by doing that, then you not only get more skillful in knowing how to work within the medium, but it opens yourself up to other ways of doing it, and not just tunnel vision yourself to, this is how it has to go, but I can't do it because I don't have. Well, don't think about because of the limits of technology you have. Think about, the story and how you can execute it. Because if you have your vision and you have the way you want to do it, then you're set. Even if you don't have, like I said, the specific camera you want, and if you're working with a limited amount of people, you don't have a wider range of crew members, well, then just designate each one the most important that you need.
Oh, yeah.
And then, maybe you have to take on two hats. Maybe you have to be the director and the actor. I've done that a couple times. And so again, it opens you up. You have to think of differently, but I think that makes you a better filmmaker in the long run, because you know how to adapt and overcome with limitations. Then once you get those, big film cameras and the whole crew, then you can really take all the knowledge you've learned and, expound upon it using that. But I feel like some people in the filmmaking world just, I can't do it because I don't have the technology. Well, you shouldn't look at it like that. You should look of, if you have your story, if you have your vision, you have, everything, you have it all planned out. Even if you don't have all the pieces that you would like to have, but you have the necessary pieces, well, then go out and do it, and you'll get an experience. Even if you fail, well, that's the whole point of filmmaking. Your whole point of filmmaking is to take risks. And you fail, even if you fail, you learn, okay, well, I'll have to do this differently next time. And that just keeps refining you and it makes you more resilient, to where once you get to that top level, then you have the experience, you have the creative, thinking to do so. And it just makes it a lot more, I wouldn't say easier, but you have more freedom to do what you would like. But you have to start somewhere. You're not going to get, the primo stuff right from the beginning.
Oh, yeah. That's perfectly said.
I love examples like, what is it? The Florida Project, right? That it was completely filmed on an iPhone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And was nominated for a bunch of things. And they used mostly natural lighting and actors who weren't as established. Well, for the most part, I think Willem Dafoe was also in that movie. But I like hearing stories like that, because it is inspiring to be like, oh, you can do this with what you have. There is no excuse for not creating. You just need to do it with what you have. So I mean, that, and what everything, I can never get the title of this movie right. Everything, everywhere, all of, what is it?
Oh, Everything Everywhere All at Once, the
Yes.
A24 film. Yep.
The crew for that was extremely limited because
Yeah.
of COVID. So like hearing about that also, I'm like, well, if they can do that, like with a limited crew, like I think that, like EJ was saying, it's more important that you build your skills, so that if you need to, you can fill in those roles. And then, when you do get that fancy camera, like EJ was saying, you know what to do with it.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't know. I love hearing stories like that, because it just makes, it's like, if they can do that, you can do what you're trying to do. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Even going back to, I believe, Franchesca, what you were saying about being a student back in 2020, just how, because that was like my first introduction into film. That was my first semester, fall of 2020. And just, I remember taking, I believe it was Art 161, the first film production one. And it was really interesting, just like, because I remember filming on my iPhone, where it was just really interesting, just being able to test the limits of conceptual ideas, just seeing how high concept / no budget flash, only filming on my iPhone, I could go. And I found just being able to move up into the ranks of, using a red camera in my previous class, film directing. I found that just a really interesting anecdote that connects to exactly what you both were saying just perfectly. So moving on, we're going to go into our summarization full circle, and I'll read an excerpt of what I wrote. So, in the absence of technological and creative foundation, which is emphasized by the quality of the media we consume on a daily basis between YouTube, television, film and movies, students of film, we have no better opportunity than now to engulf ourselves in the creative liberties and monetizable strategies that can grant us success inside and outside of our academic pursuits. So, concluding with that, does anyone have anything else they want to say on the topic?
I would say if you're coming into filmmaking, or even if you're in our position, just like I saw even if you're coming out and you need to either bolster your portfolio, or you're working for a production company, or maybe you're taking a gap year and you're working with other people that you've met. Like, I watched a video when I was doing research for this topic. There was a group of people that recreated the final scene in Seven, but on like a limited budget. I think the budget was like $500, if not less, or maybe 300. And I found that, like, if you can do your shoot maybe in a day or a couple of days, like, the rental costs are super low. Like, renting a really high camera was like maybe $70 a day for that one day, instead of renting it out for like a week for 150, if not more. So using that, and then choosing one location to shoot the entire thing, and then since they didn't have a helicopter for the scene, they had to use a drone, and then that was like previous thing I was saying, using other means of executing the same type of concept that you want without going bankrupt. So finding different ways to using equipment that you have on you, and then crew members. So don't be discouraged that, oh, well, I've gone through film school and I don't have enough money for this high equipment, or maybe I only know a couple people. Well, then just use those a couple people you have, use that equipment you have, bolster your skills, and then put it out there. Everyone needs someone to fill in, for jobs and stuff. So, and if you keep refining your skills, and keep and bolster your resume, I mean, you'll get your foot in the door sooner or later. But, I feel like some people, in this industry specifically, they see, Hollywood movies and stuff, and they go, oh, I'm going to go to film school, then boom, I'm going to get a Hollywood job right away. Well, you can't have that. It's nice to have that aspiration, but you have to also be realistic and work within your means. And sometimes that takes time. And then who knows, maybe sometimes, you go right out. Maybe you were more fortunate than others, and you had a lot of experience, you had a lot of friends that you could work with, and you have maybe more projects to your name than others, and you can get that. But I think it takes just practice, experience. That's the key, no matter how much money you have or not. Because if you're effective, no matter what camera you put, they put in your hands, or what, if you have a vision that's unique to yourself, people want that. People seek after that. And so that would be my advice. Just, learn your craft well, network, and okay, you don't have a red camera, but if you know how to still convey the same vision without one, well, then you're golden. And then when you get a red camera, you can do even more with that because of what it is. So I think if I were to sum it up in a sentence, just learn your craft and do your due diligence, and you'll be successful.
Of course. That's amazing.
That was really well put. I don't have anything to add. I just completely agree with everything EJ just said. There's absolutely no way I'm going to say it better than that.
Oh, no, that was great. Very great on both ends. And that wraps up our topic of with constantly changing technology. How can film students remain competitive on the job market on a limited personnel budget? So with that being said, and if no one has anything else to add, that concludes the podcast. All right. Great job, guys.
Thanks. You too.
Perfect. Have a great one.
You too.
All right, bye guys.
Bye.